Research similar interfaces. So what is out there? What is PlayStation doing? What's Xbox doing, etc. Then we're going to set up our card sort session with the deliverables below, and I'll go through that. Information is spelled wrong. And then we're going to work together to organize those pages. And then using our card sort, we're going to just build out a nice, pretty refined information architecture. The second part of this is we're going to build a task-based user flow diagram for logging into the console and deleting a game. So it's not too crazy. You see it and you're like, oh, that's easy. You just go in and you delete. But what should the system be asking you before you delete again? What verification needs to happen when we're logging in? So I want you to think and consider all of those factors when doing that. Pardon me. There is a lot of deliverables. I wanted to throw a lot at you just because I think the more there, the more you tend to see where things land with your teammates or, for instance, your other users. So these are going to be, for example, all of your Post-its. So you're going to put all of these items on a Post-it, and then we're going to categorize and see where they all land within their groupings. You are also welcome to add pages if you feel this is missing something. If you want, you do not need to. You are welcome to change the nomenclature of this. So if you do not want this to be called profile, you can also change the name of this as well. As long as all of these items are present, you're good to go. Of course, we research. So we all know how to do a little bit of research. Go online, you can just see. You can go home and check out what is on your own consoles if you have one. And then, like I said, I do have that you can use Optimal Workshop, but realizing you are limited to the amount of cards, and there are more than 20 in that list, so you won't be able to do that. So you will need to do that in Miro. I do suggest doing it together if you can find a common time. I know at this end kind of stage, it's getting a bit tricky for timing. So if that's too tough, you can each just kind of go in there on your own time, and you can set up your own session. So one person can go and essentially add all of these to their own Post-it note. And then if there's 4 of you in here, you're going to just have four of these set up. So then let's just say this is Kristen's, this is Rowan's, this is Trevor, whoops, Rever, and Joe. So we can all kind of go in there and organize ourselves. Again, it will then take some collaboration in the end to see what each other thinks. Oh, I actually really like what Rowan did over here, so let's stick with that category, et cetera, et cetera. If you do it together, of course, just kind of talk amongst each other like we did in the focus group. It does help. If you do things separate, that will be up to you to find those patterns individually. So you're kind of adding a step if you're unable to do it together. So that's where it is. And it's great to get that collaborative approach in there. So again, there's no right or wrong. Of course, to an extent, when I'm looking at it, it does need to have some form of logical pattern. But if you name something, unique, it's totally up to you. Of course, again, needing to be logical to some extent. And then we build a final architecture. So again, using Miro, you can do it on the same board. Are you folks comfortable in Miro? Awesome.
Oh,
What's that?
we've used it for other classes, but I also personally love Miro. So
Wonderful. Yes, me too. So we can have, this will be our card sort. Say, for example, we did it all together and we had, we're just gonna, these are gonna be like faked out here. Oops. Category 1, oops. And then there's 2 and there's 3. So now it's done. We've got, you know, everything's sorted. Everyone agrees that, you know, we're happy with where these are landing. Once we are done this, that's when we're going to move off and we're going to build out our final information architecture. So building out that information architecture, we're just going to use our shapes as we would in, say, a user flow. But we're just going to category 1. Category 3. I always like to color things appropriately, or not really, shouldn't say appropriately, to how I would like to organize them. So these would be, say, our main buckets of information. We can also change the shape of these. So say, for instance, you know, we want to do rounded corners on these, you can, or just leave them the same. And I do personally just adjusting your color is going to work. And then we'll just say card 1, card 2, card 3. And I always like to add a little home. So this is essentially your architecture. The last thing we need to do, so when in Miro, you probably have seen these, we have those little dots and we can just connect them. Okay. And that's your final architecture. To submit, we're going to export your boards. Try to keep them, if you can, like don't spread them out super, super wide. So when you end up exporting them, they're going to be really small resolution. If you can, just kind of keep them a little bit more together. So this way, when you export the file, the actual JPEG size or the PDF size is still readable. If you open it up and if you can't read it, you can guarantee that I won't be able to read it. So you might need to go back and adjust. All right. So that section is complete. We don't need to share. I've taken that out. Again, your architecture should read and view in the order it will be in the system. So you have to imagine that when you're from your home, there's all of your details and the cards will follow underneath. When we get to our task-based user flow, like I said, we're going to be doing 2 flows. One, I want to see that flow, what it's like to log into the system, and then what it would be like to delete a game. I will give more details on that in our recording for your Monday class, just because we're getting a little bit late and to not inundate you with too much, because I feel like we've kind of went over a lot today. Any questions in regards to that final assignment? Does everything seem clear? Do you maybe just need some time to adjust or to digest, I should say?